Have you ever stopped to reflect on what really happens to your mind as the lights go out and silence takes over your room? Often, we believe that sleep is just a state of passivity, a necessary shutdown to rest tired muscles from the daily routine. However, for those who have already crossed the 60-year mark, this perception can be a fatal error for longevity. The truth is that while you rest, an invisible and decisive battle occurs inside your skull, determining whether tomorrow you will wake up with a sharp mind or one step closer to forgetfulness. Sleep is no longer a luxury or a simple rest. It has transformed into your main biological defense mechanism, the only tool capable of sweeping away the toxins that try to silence your memories and steal your precious functional and cognitive autonomy. At this very moment, there is a silent and deeply ignored danger that could be aging your brain by a decade in the span of just a few months, without you noticing a single sign of physical pain. We are not talking about a rare disease, but something much more insidious: the way you breathe and position yourself during the night. If you wake up feeling a slight mental fog, or if you have accepted snoring as a natural companion of age, you may be allowing a slow cellular suffocation that devours your neurons. But today we are going to break this cycle of invisible destruction. You will discover how to transform your hours of rest into a true shield of protection, ensuring that your lucidity remains intact and that you continue to be the absolute master of your own destiny with total control over your health and dignity. Many people reach 60 believing in one of the most harmful myths for human health, the idea that the aging body naturally needs fewer hours of rest. This dangerous belief causes millions of individuals to accept insomnia, frequent awakenings, and daytime sleepiness as inevitable parts of maturity. However, what modern science reveals to us is exactly the opposite. The need for cellular restoration and brain cleansing becomes even more critical as the decades pass. By ignoring the quality of our nightly rest, we allow a silent degradation to take hold in our routine, affecting our reasoning capacity, our physical balance, and even our emotional stability. It is fundamental to understand that the fragility we often attribute only to chronological time is, in fact, the direct result of poorly slept nights that accumulate irreparable biological damage over years. Physiologically, the brain above 60 undergoes profound transformations in its internal architecture that make deep sleep an increasingly scarce and valuable resource. The so-called slow waves, responsible for memory consolidation and tissue repair, tend to decrease naturally, leaving neurons more exposed to daily wear and tear. Added to this, there is a vital cleaning network known as the glymphatic system, which works like a true nightly brainwash to remove toxic proteins such as beta amyloid, the precursor to Alzheimer's. When this drainage process is interrupted by fragmented or superficial sleep, these metabolic residues begin to accumulate in the synaptic clefts, creating an inflamed and hostile environment for brain cells. This failure in nightly maintenance is what transforms morning fatigue into a direct precursor of neurodegenerative diseases that seriously threaten your future independence. The impact of this biological negligence is not limited just to forgetting names or dates, but directly affects the basis of your autonomy and daily physical safety. A brain that does not recover properly during the night presents a drastic reduction in reflexes and motor balance control, exponentially increasing the chances of serious falls inside the home. Furthermore, the mental fog caused by chronic deprivation of oxygen and rest harms the management of essential tasks, such as the correct administration of medications and the control of personal finances. What begins as a persistent yawn can quickly evolve into an unwanted dependence on caregivers or family members, robbing you of the power to make your own decisions. Recognizing that sleep is the central pillar of your freedom is the first step to reversing this scenario and ensuring that your old age is marked by strength and lucidity. The central conflict threatening your longevity lies in a silent and dangerously common habit: the normalization of poor respiratory posture and fragmented nightly rest. Many of us were taught to believe that snoring or waking up several times in the early morning are just harmless signs of passing years, but the biological reality is much more severe and urgent. By lying down inappropriately, such as on your back without the necessary support, you may be allowing the partial collapse of your airways, which generates constant micro awakenings and deprives your brain of vital oxygen. This daily mechanical error interrupts deep sleep cycles, preventing your organism from performing the essential maintenance for the preservation of cognitive functions. What seems to be just a poorly slept night is, in reality, a continuous aggression that weakens neural networks and accelerates your functional decline. What is truly at stake in this nightly negligence is your ability to remain in command of your own life, maintaining lucidity and motor independence. When the brain stops being cleaned and oxygenated properly every night, the result is accelerated neurological aging, capable of causing damage equivalent to a decade of wear and tear in just a few months of chronic deprivation. This loss of control does not happen suddenly, but manifests through the slow erosion of your recent memory, your physical balance, and your speed of logical reasoning. Without the correct intervention, the risk of transitioning from a fully autonomous elderly person to someone dependent on constant help for simple tasks becomes a terrifying reality. Protecting your sleep is, therefore, the most radical act of defense against dementia, ensuring that your dignity and power of choice remain unshakable and sovereign. Many people erroneously believe that as they age, the body naturally requires fewer hours of deep rest, and that insomnia is an expected component of maturity. This dangerous idea creates a passive acceptance of fragmented nights, preventing the individual from seeking solutions for problems like apnea or nightly anxiety. In reality, the biology of the elderly demands even more intense cellular restoration to compensate for the natural wear and tear of tissues and neural connections. When you accept sleeping little, you are allowing your brain to suffer progressive atrophy, as it is during the slow wave phases that the vital maintenance of cognitive functions occurs. Cognitive longevity is not a result of chance, but of the rigorous preservation of uninterrupted sleep cycles. Correcting this mistaken perception is the first step to rescuing your organism's repair capacity, ensuring lasting vitality and mental clarity. It is fundamental to understand that deep sleep acts as a biological laboratory where your body synthesizes essential proteins and consolidates the previous day's memories. For those over 60, this phase of sleep is the moment when the immune system strengthens and metabolism balances, preventing chronic systemic inflammation. To ignore the recurrence of sleepless nights or shallow sleep is to neglect the foundation of your physical and mental health. Without the necessary repair time, neurons lose communication efficiency, resulting in a slowness of reasoning that is often mistaken for natural aging. By prioritizing the quality of your rest, you are not just resting, you are actively investing in the construction of a powerful cognitive reserve. This change in mindset is what differentiates those who age with vigor from those who prematurely surrender to fragility. One of the most alarming and least discussed dangers in the third age is the silent suffocation caused by inadequate posture while sleeping. Often, the habit of sleeping on one's back, without the correct support for the spine and neck, favors the partial collapse of the upper airways. This mechanical blockage forces the heart to work harder and interrupts the constant flow of oxygen that the brain needs to function. The result is frequent micro-awakenings that, although they often go unnoticed, prevent the individual from reaching the deepest and most restorative phases of sleep. This intermittent deprivation of oxygen, known as hypoxia, is extremely destructive to aging brain cells, which are much more sensitive to gas variations. Keeping the airway clear is, therefore, a matter of neurological survival and preservation of the integrity of your higher mental faculties. Imagine that each episode of heavy snoring or respiratory interruption acts as a small physical aggression against your neurons, killing vital connections progressively. This accumulated structural damage is capable of aging your brain's architecture by up to 10 years in a short span of time, transforming your mind into an arid terrain. The lack of constant nightly oxygenation not only harms memory, but also raises blood pressure and increases the risk of serious cardiovascular events during the early morning. Correcting the body's positioning when lying down is a simple intervention that generates immediate benefits in stabilizing brain oxygenation. When you ensure that your brain breathes freely during the night, you are protecting your ability to think clearly and react with agility to daily challenges. Active prevention begins with the conscious choice of your resting posture. If you notice that you wake up with a dry mouth, a headache, or a feeling of persistent tiredness, know that your body is sending urgent signals for help. It is fascinating to see how small adjustments in our nightly routine can return control over our own biology and vitality. I would like to know if you have already noticed any of these signs, or if you have difficulty maintaining continuous sleep through the night. Share your experience in the comments below. Also, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and join this community dedicated to aging with power and autonomy, receiving valuable guidelines for your health. Understanding that your well-being is in your hands is the first step towards a dignified and lucid longevity. Now that we understand the importance of breathing, let's explore how your brain performs a true internal cleaning while you are immersed in the deepest rest. There is a fascinating system in your body called the glymphatic system, which works like a highly efficient urban cleaning service for your brain. During deep sleep, the spaces between brain cells expand, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to circulate freely and wash away all the metabolic waste accumulated during the day. This brain wash is essential for removing toxic proteins such as beta amyloid, which are directly linked to the development of dementing syndromes and Alzheimer's disease. However, this drainage system only reaches its maximum capacity when you reach specific stages of rest and maintain a posture that favors circulation. To ignore the importance of this cleaning is like allowing garbage to accumulate in your house for decades, creating a toxic environment. Protecting the functioning of this system is one of the most powerful strategies to maintain a young, clean, and functional mind. When sleep is chronically interrupted by cell phone screens, late caffeine, or erratic bedtimes, the glymphatic system is prevented from completing its work cycle. The resulting accumulation of metabolic waste and senile plaques generates silent inflammation that corrodes the health of neurons day after day. This process of blocking brain cleaning is one of the main factors that accelerate cognitive decline and the loss of recent memory in the third age. The benefit of correcting these habits is immediate. By restoring glymphatic flow, you protect your brain against degeneration and strengthen your learning capacity. Preventing Alzheimer's does not depend on a magic pill, but on the daily maintenance of this deep biological hygiene that occurs while you sleep. Having the awareness that you can wash your mind every night offers immense power over your longevity. To implement the shielded sleep protocol after 60, the first and most effective change is the mechanical adjustment of your position in bed. Prioritizing side sleeping, especially on the left side, is recommended by specialists to facilitate both glymphatic system drainage and the maintenance of open airways. This anatomical position reduces the likelihood of snoring and apnea episodes, ensuring that the oxygen flow to the cerebral cortex remains constant and uninterrupted. Additionally, using appropriate pillows to align the neck and a cushion between the knees can stabilize the spine, avoiding pains that cause micro-awakenings. By adopting these postural adjustments, you remove the physical barriers that prevent your body from diving into restorative rest. This is a practical and accessible action that returns to your organism the capacity to regenerate and protect its neurological structure. Beyond posture, the environment where you sleep plays a crucial role in shielding your brain against accelerated aging. Rigorous control of light and temperature is fundamental, as the human body needs a totally dark and slightly cooled environment to signal the production of melatonin. Blue light emitted by electronic devices before bed tricks the brain into believing it is still day, blocking the start of the glymphatic repair process. Transforming your bedroom into a sanctuary of silence and freshness is a strategy of mastery over your own health that brings visible results as early as the next morning. By eliminating environmental distractions, you allow your nervous system to calm down and enter a state of profound cellular restoration. Small changes in the setting of your rest can be the vital difference between a tired mind and a sharp intelligence. Applying this shielded sleep protocol is about taking back the reins of your autonomy and ensuring that your future is marked by lucidity and vigor. By correcting oxygenation and facilitating brain cleaning, you interrupt the cycle of neurodegeneration that affects so many elderly people around the world. The feeling of waking up with a clear mind, fast reasoning, and intact memory is the greatest proof that simple changes generate real and profound impacts. Mastery over one's own brain health offers the security needed to continue living with independence, making decisions, and enjoying the company of those you love. It is never too late to start protecting your most precious asset. Every night of well-managed sleep is a solid investment in your dignity. By the end of this process, you will not have only slept better, but you will have strengthened your brain to face the coming decades. Consider the story of two men, both 65 years old, who faced opposite nightly realities. The first, Mr. Alberto, accepted loud snoring and morning tiredness as normal signs of his aging, refusing to change his sleeping position or investigate his apnea. In less than a year, he began to show serious memory lapses and mental confusion that made him dependent on his children for basic tasks. In contrast, Mr. Ricardo, upon noticing the same signs of fatigue, decided to apply the sleep hygiene and lateral postural adjustment protocol. In just a few months, Ricardo regained his clarity of thought and resumed physical activities, proving that vitality is not luck, but a choice. These trajectories show that the fate of your mind is linked to the decisions made before closing your eyes, transforming the fear of dependence into an opportunity for strength and longevity. It is fundamental that we understand that the aging of the human body is not a random process or a matter of genetic luck, but rather the result of a silent accumulation of daily micro-decisions. Every neglected night of sleep, every ignored snoring episode, and every interruption in the brain cleaning cycle are like small bricks taken from the structure of a fortress that should protect you for decades. Cognitive decline and loss of autonomy do not happen suddenly or unexpectedly. They are the outcome of a progressive process of wear and tear that sets in when we stop offering the brain the oxygen and purification it demands to survive. Aging with power means recognizing that biology is not an immutable fate, but a dynamic system that responds directly to the care and awareness we dedicate to our most fundamental and sacred natural rhythms of deep biological restoration every night. It is perfectly natural to feel a chill down your spine when understanding that sleep can be the hero or the villain of your aging story. However, this alert is not meant to paralyze you, but to offer the compass that was missing in your self-care. The fear of memory loss is real, but science shows that brain regeneration is much more resilient than we imagined. There is still time to act, and simple changes, such as adjusting your posture when lying down or controlling light, generate profound and immediate biological impacts. You who have made it this far demonstrate an admirable commitment to your own dignity and autonomy. Do not keep this knowledge only for yourself. Share this video with your friends and family so that they too may discover that old age can be a phase of strength and absolute lucidity, maintaining total control over their own lives. It is essential to honestly face the consequences of ignoring the quality of your nightly rest in the long term. Without the necessary intervention, the future scenario is marked by a progressive cognitive decline that transforms into loss of mobility and physical balance. Family dependence becomes a bitter reality where simple daily tasks require constant supervision, and hospitalizations due to falls or cardiovascular complications become frequent and exhausting. On the other hand, the individual who decides to act preventively today is building a protective barrier against fragility. By ensuring restorative sleep, you preserve your ability to walk with firmness, to manage your own life, and to maintain the lucidity necessary to enjoy your freedom. The difference between being a dependent patient or a sovereign elder lies in your willingness to prioritize the health of your brain right now. Perhaps the most surprising and counterintuitive revelation about rest and maturity is the fact that the brain, far from being turned off, consumes almost the same amount of energy during deep sleep as it does during a complex conversation or intense mathematical calculation. This frenetic activity is not in vain. It represents the effort of your glial cells to reorganize information and purify the neural environment against biological wear and tear. Often, the most ignored item on this list of care is body temperature, as an excessively warm environment prevents diving into the most restorative phases of rest, silently sabotaging your memory even if you sleep 8 hours straight. Understanding that sleep is an active process of biological engineering completely changes the perception of the act of lying down. It is not about losing time, but about gaining life, allowing your intelligence to renew itself every morning. To transform this wisdom into a palpable and immediate reality, start today by observing the subtle signs your body emits upon awakening, such as your energy level or the clarity of your morning thoughts. The first practical step is adjusting your posture. Use support pillows to ensure you remain on your side, facilitating the opening of the airways and the drainage of brain toxins. Additionally, establish a mental decompression routine 1 hour before bed, eliminating artificial lights and reducing the room temperature to signal to your nervous system that repair should begin. Small adjustments, such as avoiding afternoon caffeine and seeking early sunlight, regulate your biological clock and deepen your rest. By monitoring your own breathing and vitality, you take command of your health and ensure a full, lucid, and sovereign old age, keeping your mind forever young and active. As we conclude this journey, it becomes clear that your sleep is not a mere shutdown, but the most strategic act of preserving your intelligence and freedom. We have understood that glymphatic system hygiene and constant brain oxygenation are the pillars that sustain an old age marked by dignity and command over your own decisions. Every small choice made before turning out the lights, from your side sleeping adjustment to total bedroom silence, will resonate in decades of lucidity or an avoidable decline that compromises your essence. Given everything we've seen about silent suffocation and the power of deep restoration, I ask you, what will be the first change you make today to shield your brain? Share your answer in the comments. Subscribe to the channel to strengthen your longevity with us, and share this video with those you wish to see aging with total power and autonomy.